What's up? We're gonna make a couple short videos to cover our booty and prove that the rear main seal on this engine is being replaced. Why? The warranty will be voided unless we have video documenting to prove that it was replaced. The thermostat needs to be documented that it was replaced, the rear main seal, all the fresh fluids, everything that's written on the back of the limited lifetime warranty. I need to make sure I get on video so they can't come back and say, well, we're not going to honor that warranty for you, mister. Too bad. Watch the video. Anyways, that's the purpose of the video. Bear with me as I get a knife. All right, here's your rear main seal gasket, part number BS4689, rear main seal for a 2007 Mazda 3, y'all. So we're gonna cut this open nice and gentle, like. I've seen people be mean cutting these open and damage the product inside as they're cutting it open. So you always want to be nice and careful. Okay, so here's our rear main seal. Very neatly packaged. We're going to give it one more cut. Right, get it opened up. Pull it out of here. It has an installation plastic piece to make sure that it's properly installed. Usually they bring some kind of dummy instructions. Protect Wrap Daubert Cromwell. Okay, whatever. There's no instructions. You don't really need them. This is obviously the back with the rubber. All right, this is what goes on the back of the motor. And I would put some RTV gasket maker on the back of that. Some people may or may not. I would definitely put a nice strip all the way around it. You don't want to over gook it, but you want to put a strip on there. This is the front. You got 2 bolts on the bottom, 2 bolts on the top, 2 bolts on the side. So I would start with the 2 bolts here, and then I would X that way. And what I mean by start, don't tighten this one all the way down, or any of them. Finger tight as far as I can get it, finger tight as far as I can get it. Jump over here, finger tight, jump over here, finger tight, jump over here, finger tight, here. Now they're all finger tight, then I put a ratchet and I give it a nice little gentle half turn to a full turn, and I go back in the same crisscross pattern. The goal is that you want this to gently seat against the motor, flat and level. You don't want it to come in cocked as it's being tightened in different positions. You want it coming in nice and level and flat as it's being tightened in. So that's the whole point of the crisscross. I haven't looked up the torque sequence, y'all. When you've been wrenching as long as I have, a lot of this stuff really, it's a feel thing. I might look it up and leave it in the comments below, but for right now, I'm gonna just document on this video that it will be properly tightened in the right sequence, and that's what really matters. There's the transmission. Here's the engine that came off, no markings. There's the engine that's gonna go in. You see the markings on the flywheel. Every time these people sell you an engine, they always mark it everywhere to make sure that you don't try to like return some busted up engine, you know, and say, hey, here's the busted up engine. You know, so they mark them. So they marked it there. They put a paint mark there. They got some more markings on the front, some other ones on the side. They put plenty of markings on them. Anyways, we're gonna grab the Milwaukee 1/2-inch impact. We're gonna put a 19mm 1/2-inch socket on there. That's what these 6 bolts are. Now on this flywheel, I really don't see a mark, a keyway mark, but sometimes people will argue and say, well, which which flex plate should we use? Should we use the one that was on the car, or should we use the one that came with the engine? I always look at them, and if I see any kind of like damage of any kind to the teeth or any markings like that, then yeah, sure, I'll go ahead and use the one that doesn't have damage. But in this case, neither of them show any signs of damage. So which one do I use? Well, I say this one came with the motor. Leave the one that came with the motor with the motor. So that's my take on it. You could agree to disagree if you like. This watch strap thing is so annoying. I'm gonna have to order another one on Amazon that won't do that. I'm gonna have to go Velcro or something. Alrighty. Before I pull this off, again, I look and I make sure that there's no alignment mark of any kind. Now on this one, I really don't have to mark a lot. They put a mark here, but when I go to install it, I'm just going to pay attention to the fact that the numbers were up top and try to put it back to where the bolts line up in that position. And that's it. But they had a mark originally with that yellow mark and that mark over there. But the engine obviously turned, so it is what it is. The mark doesn't line up anymore. Here's your rear main seal, and they appear to be 8mm sockets, so I'll run and I'll get that, and I'll grab a flathead and we'll pop it off real quick. Alright, I'm back. I grabbed myself a couple flatheads, screwdrivers, a little hammer to help, an 8mm socket. We're going to remove the rear main seal. Alrighty then, this should pop off. I like to come in from this corner right here and get as flat as I can, because I know that's where the glue usually is. And once I got that one in there, I'll leave that one there. It'll end up falling here in a second, but once I got that one there, I'll try to work the rest of it out. There you go. And that's just the glue. There you go on the bottom. So this is your old rear main seal. And as you can see, they didn't really have any glue up here. So again, it's not a necessary thing. It's not like a requirement. Ooh, excuse me for yawning on y'all. It's been a long day. But it's not necessarily like a requirement. But they do put glue on the bottom where the oil pan goes. Again, like I said, whoever did this right, it was probably done from the factory. They put just enough. They didn't pancake it out too much. So technically this rear main seal, y'all, was not leaking. but we're gonna replace it anyways because of the warranty situation on the engine. Now here's the old one, there's the new one that's gonna be going on. I am going to go ahead and scrape this clean real quick with the metal brush, and I'm gonna go grab that real quick, come back, scrape that clean. I'm gonna grab a little bit of glue. We're gonna glue it on. I'm gonna keep the camera rolling for the purposes of, I don't wanna stop until this is completely installed. That being said, I want this completely installed on video as proof that the new rear main seal did properly go on and was installed. So bear with me while I go swap tools, and I'll be right back. So I'm back. I got a little metal brush here on another DeWalt electric tool. I'm going to remove the new rear main seal. Here's the old one. I'll leave it somewhere visible for y'all to see on camera. And I'm going to just clean any excess glue off of it. Alrighty, that's all cleaned up. We're gonna put this back real quick, and I'll be right back with a clean rag and some glue, and we'll be installing this. We're almost done, y'all. Alright, I'm back here on camera with y'all again to show you the glue I'm going to use. I'm going to go ahead and use the gray, ultra gray Permatex. It's just your regular gasket maker glue. I do have red and I do have black, and there you'll see different colors when you go to an auto parts store. The red works best on like a transmission pan. I'm not a big fan of the black stuff. Some guys are. The black will pretty much do the same thing that the gray will do. I've just had better personal experiences with the gray than I have the black. I don't know why, but maybe for you it's the opposite. But every time I've grabbed the black, mumbling here. Every time I've grabbed the black version of this, I usually always end up getting a leaker. And with the gray stuff, I rarely ever get a leaking gasket, so I usually always run gray. We got 2 clean rags here. You just saw me clean this with a drill. We're not trying to win a beauty contest. We're just trying to make sure that we got a clean surface to apply this to. If you're OCD, take a chill pill and just give it a good little wipe down, and that's good enough. So we're going to set this bad boy down somewhere here where you can see on camera, get a flat surface. And we're going to lay some glue on this. I'm going to have to cut this real quick. There we go. So I like to squeeze the air out of the bottom and fold it up. So we'll start folding that up. That's my OCD kicking in right there, but you don't have to do it that way. That's just the way I do it. And then once I got it folded up, I start working it up the plastic nipple here, and then as it's about to come out the top, poking its little stuff out of the end there, then I find my line. And on this one, like I said, I'm not gonna go too thick. I'm just barely gonna I'm gonna go ahead and put the light on. It just helps me see better. I'm gonna go ahead and lay a little bead coming all the way around. And I don't know how well y'all can see that on the camera there. These iPhones are not the best at making YouTube videos with. I used to have an Android, and you could pause it while you were recording, and then you could unpause and keep recording. And back then I felt like I was able to make better videos. Well, these iPhones, you can't pause when you record. You have to record a whole video. And people tell me there's like apps and stuff that you can download, but like, who the hell wants to have a separate app on their phone just to be able to hit pause when they're recording? It's pretty corny if you ask me. I'd much rather be back to an Android phone, and that's what I'm going to be doing here soon. I'm going to be switching over to probably the Note, one of the Notes. I like the Note 10. I know the Note 20 is out, but to me the Note 10 is good enough of a phone, and it's a little bit more affordable. And I don't like to overspend on phones anyways. So I'll probably be shopping for a new used Galaxy Note 10 here soon, and then I'll be able to make some better videos. I'm looking for the one that's like 500 gigabytes, the big memory one. I've seen them on eBay, so I'll be jumping on one of those here shortly, and gifting this little crappy iPhone I'm using to someone else. It ain't that bad of a phone. It's an iPhone XR, but it doesn't impress me. I'm not happy with it. If you guys notice on this bottom part, I put a little bit of RTV across here, and I'm just gonna put another little thin bead across the bottom part, and I'm gonna purposely leave it a little thick in the corners, because it doesn't matter if it pancakes out in the corner. You don't want it to pancake out too much in the middle, so you want to squeeze the tube consistently as you run across, laying your bead. And then when you come to the end, give it another harder squeeze to get that corner with a little more on there. And that's pretty much what it should look like. all the way around. Now I use my tip to correct any imperfections like that. Try to keep this stuff off my gloves as much as possible. So I'll use the tip to kind of correct stuff right there. All right, so we got this on. It comes with a little plastic alignment thing. I'm used to putting these on without it, but we're gonna go ahead and take their suggestion and try to install it with it. Now the transmission's hitting me in the hip. Okay, so we got a clean surface. I like to set the bottom down first. You see this lip here, right here on the bottom? I like to set that in place on the bottom first and then bring the top down flat up against it. So I'll do that as a guide. And you're looking to line up those two bottom bolt holes as you're doing that. But at the same time, you want your plastic piece to center. And I'm not looking at it dead on, so I'm gonna have to block your camera view to look at it dead on and be able to properly do that. Okay, there we go. It's on. So now that we got it on, you can see some that, I don't know how well y'all can see this, but we don't have a little bitch camera boy that's holding the camera. It's on a tripod. And I'm hoping you can see from over there that some of the glue I put pancake down on the bottom there. That's where I put that excess, and you want that there because that's high pressure area. This is the back of the crank, for those of you that don't understand. So your crank runs from the back of this rear main seal to the front main pulley, the crank pulley on the front of your engine. And those are your two most high pressure seals on the motor. Your front crank seal and your rear main seal. So, you know, you want to have a little, and then where it meets with the oil pan on the bottom, you want to make sure you have a little more RTV there, because obviously you want to make sure it's sealed up good against the oil pan also, but make sure it's sealed around the engine block. The engine block doesn't require as much RTV as the bottom lip is pretty much what you need to keep in mind. Now y'all saw on video, I can see that I didn't go crazy overdoing it with the glue. A lot of people, they just get real aggressive with the glue. I've worked as a mechanic in a lot of shops, and I've seen what even a lot of these so-called mechanics are doing with the glue, and some of them just go way overboard with it. So don't be one of those guys. Okay, so I ran that in nice and soft and gentle, as you can see. Kind of like a finger tight, like I mentioned, right? All right, so that's just ran in finger tight. I'm gonna grab a hand ratchet and ratchet the rest by hand, because it's real hard to like know exactly how hard you tighten something when you're doing it with an impact gun. And I have a 3/8 impact wrench, and I have a 1/2 inch, but I don't have a 1/4 inch torque wrench. So I really, even if I wanted to torque this, I can't. But like I said, I know how to torque it by hand, so we're gonna torque it by hand here, just by feel. And so we're trying to get all the bolts snug right there. You see how all I'm doing is just like flicking the ratchet to where I feel the resistance, and my fingers are up top, meaning that I would have to actually put a hand and like really tighten that if I wanted to get it tightened. But I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to flick the wrench and get them all pretty much equal. That way I know they're all pretty much at the same point of strength. Okay, so now that they're there, now I can reposition my hand and bring my hand down lower on the ratchet. So I'm gonna actually grab one thumb right here to balance the ratchet, and I'm gonna just do 3 fingers. I'm leaving the pinky out. I'm not doing a whole entire hand gripped on the wrench. Don't do it that way. So we're just gonna go 3 fingers and give it a little half a turn down. 3 fingers, half a turn down. I should have grabbed an extension to tighten this side. This short socket's kind of a little short. I'm gonna get up and grab an extension real quick just to give it that last torque. When you're doing an engine swap, you go to your toolbox to look for something, and it's usually not where it should be in the toolbox, somewhere on the windshield of the car you're working on. But anyways, we're back. We already did the thumb and the 3 fingers. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the thumb and a full hand. And I'm going to give it one last nice snug. And so that one I know is tight. The same with that one. There we go. Now these are tiny little 8mm screws, y'all. Like, you're not trying to win the strongman contest here and break them. What you're looking for is consistency in the way you tighten them all. So there's your plastic.